Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Coscast podcast. This is the Patron exclusive podcast, but every so often, and I'd say actually pretty rarely, I like to have a couple of these episodes be posted on the main channel, mainly because I'll cover certain topics that I think would just benefit the larger community. So, of course, if you want to have a weekly podcast from me, you can head over to Patreon for that. But today I wanted to talk about the recent news about LEGO Ideas and the fact that there was a Bionicle project that did not make it through, and that some other projects did in fact make it through, and just kind of the general, in general, my thoughts on that topic, but also some of the things that the larger community has been saying, and I just wanted to kind of share my thoughts on that, and share my insight, and hopefully provide a bit of solace in these trying times. Not really that trying, but, you know, so some people are taking the news harder and some people are taking it fairly well. So I just wanted to, lend my insight on that and maybe help you out if you're feeling a little bit disappointed or hurt or anything by that recent news. But as we do with every podcast, I wanted to start with LEGO and Life Adventures. So what have I been getting up to this week that has been LEGO related or not LEGO related? Just what have I been getting up to in my recent times and life? Well, I've been taking a lot of LEGO pictures. If you've been checking in with my various forms of social media, you'll probably have noticed some of them. Probably about a month ago, I bought the Art of Star Wars books for the sequel trilogy. So that's The Force Awakens, Last Jedi, and Rise of Skywalker books. They're fantastic. There's some great concept art in there, and a lot of it inspired me. And so I've been I've kind of bookmarked a whole bunch of pages. There's probably about 30, 40 pages I've bookmarked, and I'm like, I want to make that in LEGO. And so I've kind of been working my way through that. I've also been continuing my photo series of recreating LEGO scenes from my D&D campaign that I'm playing with my friends. That's going to be about 60 pictures in total, I think, at the moment. Let me check. How many have I taken? Because not all of them I've posted yet, because I always write a little bit of a story description recapping the events. And that takes time too. But and also I just like to space out my posts just to space them out. It's always a good thing to do. But I've currently photographed 27, and like I said, there are 60 in total, because, well, this Sunday's our final session of D&D for this campaign, and then we'll move on to another one. So there will be 60 of those images in total, and in the past, some of the quality wasn't as good, and I've sort of been going back and redoing a few as well, because I kind of realized, like, this D&D session means a lot to me, and I really want to have it not only as just like a really nice photo series, like really strong images I'm proud of, but also just a thing I can look back on and reread and be like, oh yeah, I remember that. That was good times, you know? So yeah, I've been redoing some older ones and doing some that I haven't photographed yet. So session 28 onwards, I'll be working on pretty soon. And yeah, those Star Wars images and stuff. So that's been fun. I really enjoy my photography, and obviously I enjoy LEGO, and it's nice to kind of blend the two. In case you didn't know, I really enjoy LEGO. Yeah, I don't know if you realized. But there's that. That's one thing I've been up to this week and last week as well. I've also been looking for new LEGO sets in the shopping centres. I should preface this with the fact that in WA, Western Australia, Perth, we are in phase 4 of COVID-19. I don't even know what that means, I'll be honest with you. But essentially, we've been doing pretty well with this whole COVID thing. Some other parts of Australia have gone into like a second wave and stuff, and blah, blah, blah. But we've been doing pretty well. So a lot of restrictions have been lifted and stuff. And, basically all that's left is it's like you can, I think, because the rules keep changing, but I think it's like you can't have gatherings over 100 people, but like, you can have like a gathering of 100 people and stuff. Like certain like bars and nightclubs are opening back up, and people are, things are slightly getting back to normal, but there's still like social distancing in place and all sorts of, those sort of things. But no one listens to it, man. Like I'll go to the shopping center, I'll be like, whoop, got to keep my distance. And then people just walk right into you, and it's like, dude, social distance. And then it's like, I don't care, Or it's like, make sure there's no more than 3 people per aisle, because then you'll be not socially distancing. And then people just 20 people in an aisle. I don't necessarily mind, because we haven't had any new cases in like, I don't know, 2 or 3, 4 weeks, like a month or something. So it kind of feels like it's not something to worry about at the moment, at least in WA. I know it is a big thing to worry about in the other sides of the world, do not get me wrong. But we've reached a good place here in WA. So it is a thing that you can kind of freely go outside to some degree now, which is nice. And with that, I've been looking for new Lego sets, but man, the stores here are wiped out. The borders for WA are closed, so not a lot of stuff can get in, whether that's like people or goods and services and things. So yeah, if you go to shops right now, the shelves are bare. There is nothing there. Like I went to a store that replaced Toys R Us. It's called Toymate, which is one of the more Australian names for toy stores. Toymate, like I went there and half the shelf was just empty, but then one of the other halves of the shelves was just, here's 20 of the same hidden side sets stretched across the shelf, one box, nothing behind it kind of thing. So they are not doing so hot in terms of new products. And I keep seeing people being like, oh, I got the new Ninjago stuff, or oh, the new Harry Potter. And I'm like, I want it. So for whatever reason, it's not out here in Perth yet, but I'll give it time. But it's been nice to my chair is squeaking. Thought I got rid, and now my Facebook is bling blonging. So many noises. Please forgive me. Yeah, I've been hoping to at least see some of those new sets. I always enjoy just looking in the toy stores, seeing when new product comes out, and I enjoy the hunt, That's why I also collect Star Wars Black Series figures, because I enjoy the hunt. I enjoy walking to the store and being like, oh, it's here. Oh, cool, I'll take it. Or, is it there? No, not yet, but maybe next time. That stuff's fun for me. Yeah, and a couple other things before we move on to the main topic today. More podcasts will be coming soon, whether that's just Biss podcasts or, of course, the Patron podcast. They're out weekly on Patreon, of course. But I am planning more podcasts with a friend of mine that will be not LEGO related. They'll be D&D related. I'll post more details about that soon, but I figured I'd just nicely tease that. That is with the Flame Tongue Fables social media presence that I also have, which there's links to that sort of stuff in the description there if you want to check that out. But yeah, there'll be a few more of those sort of podcasts coming soon. Again, I'll make disclaimers and different posts about that when it's time. So yeah, stay tuned for that, because that'll be good fun. So yeah, if you enjoy hearing me talk, hearing me ramble, hearing me share my thoughts, you can hear all of that over there as well, which, yeah, that'll be coming soon, so stay tuned for that. Additionally, I figured I just want to touch base with this. More BioCup stuff is coming. Don't worry, I haven't just cancelled my coverage of it. The main reason I haven't posted as much is just being a little bit more busier, but also I kind of wanted to mesh a few of the rounds together, seeing as the amount of mocks coming out for them are sort of smaller and stuff, as there's less people as we get towards the business end of the competition, as we get to the final rounds and stuff. So I just kind of wanted to do more sort of, not necessarily like mega episodes, but just episodes covering multiple things, just to kind of better cover it, and not have it be like, okay, we're going to cover the round today. There's 3 mocks in this one, that sort of thing. So yeah, I just wanted to touch base on that. More BioCup stuff is coming, don't you worry. But yes, just working it out in my schedule at the moment, all that sort of stuff. So stay tuned for that. But let's move on to the main topic. So yes, we want to talk about the Bionicle LEGO Ideas Project made by, I'm going to pronounce his name wrong, Sakoda. I think that's correct. Very talented man, made a really awesome project, like really, really awesome. I briefly spoke about it before it reached 10K with Cal and Lord of Fire. If you want to go back and have a watch of that video, it'll be well worth listening to, because you can learn all about that project. But essentially the Bionicle, LegoIdeas.com, if you've not heard of it, is essentially a website that allows you to submit your own LEGO projects to the website, and then people can vote for it. And if it reaches 10,000 votes, it'll go on the list and LEGO will consider it to become a set. And this Bionicle project made it through, got the 10,000 votes, and it was kind of made as this little celebration of Bionicle. It was more system-focused, and that was made with the belief that, hey, maybe they won't accept more CCBS construction-based constructions, and maybe they'd be more likely to approve a system-based set. So that was the idea. And from there, it was also a celebration of 20 years of Bionicle, because I believe this year is 20 years of Bionicle. And yeah, people wanted to well, who wouldn't want that? More Bionicle, of course. And yeah, it made it through, and then recently the results were put out as to what did or didn't win. And I can't remember the exact numbers of how many projects there were, but a whole bunch of them were denied, which is normally the case. Not many always make it through. And 3 projects made it through, and Bionicle was not one of those. I'll probably throw up some images of what was and wasn't approved and all that sort of stuff so you can see it. But the 3 that did make it through were a Home Alone building inspired by the movies, the Seinfeld house apartment sort of main set for the show, very similar to the Big Bang Theory set or the Friends set from also from LEGO Ideas. And additionally, the one that did also win, which I think was a pretty cool one, was a typewriter, which, to my knowledge, would function, but not actually function. I don't think you could actually type your essay or schoolwork on that typewriter. I think instead you would just be able to press the buttons and it would make the clicky noise and you'd be able to whack it and move it. But, you'd be able to pretend you're typing, which would be fun, I'm sure. But hey, maybe LEGO will change it and make a functional typewriter, which would be really cool. But those are the 3 projects that made it through, and Bionicle was not one of them. And people weren't too happy about that. And people were okay with it too, So, I just wanted to share my insight on that. Basically, the first little note that I've got here on my notes that I want to touch on is, this doesn't necessarily mean that Bionicle is dead. I feel like people like to toss around that phrase or sort of term of Bionicle is dead, and I don't necessarily agree with that, because we've still got the larger community. People are still posting Bionicle mocks, and it's been 20 years. That alone is an accomplishment. There are a whole bunch of LEGO themes, like, I don't know, Chima, Exoforce, and Fabuland. People still kind of build Fabuland stuff, actually, but there's a whole bunch of other extinct LEGO themes that are discontinued that people don't really touch on, people don't really build mocks for, and yet people still build mocks for Bionicle stuff. So that's impressive, But no, I don't take this as LEGO saying, guys, get over it. We don't want this Bionicle thing. We're killing it. Bye. I don't take it as that. There's a whole bunch of other projects on there. There was like a Zelda project. There was all sorts of other craziness. And LEGO said no to them. And that doesn't necessarily mean that the project is something that LEGO has no interest in or that they don't like or whatever. There's a whole bunch of reasons behind why LEGO would say no to a project. And I'll touch upon some of those in a minute here, but I don't think this is like meta commentary from LEGO saying, hey, no, we hate it, stop, bye. LEGO's a business, and at the end of the day, they want to make money. And I think it's the same reason that Bionicle G2 and Bionicle G1 ended, is that it wasn't making money. And so I'm sure that they did their business reviews and assessed it and all that sort of stuff, and they went, hey, at this point in time, we don't think this is going to make money, so unfortunately, we're going to have to say no to the product. And that's upsetting. That's unfortunate, of course, but at the end of the day, LEGO's a business, and they've got to make those sort of calls. If they felt that it would make money and they felt it was right, they would do it, I don't think this means that they hate Bionicle, because otherwise, why would they put little cameos of Bionicle stuff in a whole bunch of different sets, from City to Ninjago? Why? To even Hidden Side, why would they put those Bionicle references in there if they didn't appreciate and love the theme? Because I think they do, guys. It saved them from bankruptcy, And I know people have also been using that argument of, hey, Bionicle saved the LEGO company from bankruptcy. Why don't they, honor it now? It's like, yes, of course, that would be great. But, hey, maybe now's not quite the time, It's all about timing, I guess, It's the argument that we've said before with why, G2 got cancelled and stuff, is that kids don't play with action figures as much anymore. They far prefer to play on the iPad or some cool video games and stuff, But that'll change. I'm sure, Everything is almost sort of circular and cyclical and all that sort of stuff, There were times that people, hated this type of fashion, and now it's just as popular today. Or there's times that people hated that kind of product or toy line or school of thought or whatever. And then a whole bunch of years later, people are like, actually, you know what? That was pretty cool. So, give it time. There's also, like I said, there's still a larger community out there as well, whether that's on my channel here, whether that's on other Bionicle YouTube channels, whether that's on Flickr or Instagram. There's still a larger Bionicle presence out there, so, you can make the argument that, Bionicle's dead and stuff, but it's not. People are still building it, and you can still have a lovely, awesome chat with people about Bionicle. It'll sound cliche, but it's not dead because it lives inside us. It's in our hearts, It's true. Additionally to... yeah, like I said, I really don't think this means that LEGO hates Bionicle. I think, I'll touch upon them now. There's a whole bunch of different reasons an idea project can get declined or not approved. And sometimes that can come down to LEGO actually has currently got plans for making their own themes like that. There was a Jurassic World or Jurassic Park LEGO Ideas project that got denied, and then a little bit later down the line, LEGO released their own Jurassic Park set that was the sort of gates into Jurassic Park and a larger sort of Tyrannosaurus Rex, and that was more or less what the Ideas project was, and that's why it got denied, because LEGO said, hey, we are already doing that. But Lego themselves have said they don't specifically give reasons for why they're going to deny a specific project or not. That's just the way they roll. We got to honor that, unfortunately. And I don't think that's them withholding answers from us or anything. I think they're a business. They have every right to be able to say no to something if they don't believe it'll take off. I remember in the past they used to say why, and this was really early on. There was a Firefly project from the TV show Firefly. Is it called the Serenity? I'm not too familiar with Firefly as a show, but the main sort of ship from the TV show, that got 10,000 votes, and then Lego directly sort of said like, yeah, there's certain characters in the TV show that we don't think fit with the values of Lego. I think one of the characters is a little bit more sort of promiscuous, and I think she, it's an interesting sort of character. I don't know what's the show, and people were kind of like, that's not really that true, and that's not a good representation of the character. You're kind of misinterpreting that, or you have things like The Simpsons or Star Wars, which kind of have very similar characters, or blah blah blah. That sort of stuff, right? And and then I think kind of from there, Lego was kind of like, yeah, cool. Look, we're not going to really share our reasons and stuff. And I don't necessarily think that was a retaliation of like, yo, people were right, and they took our bluff kind of thing. I think that's more just like they probably had deeper reasons, or Lego likes to kind of keep their values, keep to their values, and they might be like, look, we're just not quite comfortable with this. Yes, it could work, but I don't know, we're not going to do it. Lego's a business; they've got their reasons. I think to some degree, it's important to respect that, but I also think to some degree, it is also important to go like, well, hey, look, we love this Bionicle thing, and it was a theme that you guys made. Like, why not honor that? And that was also an argument a lot of people said, is that two of the three things that won were licensed IPs, like Seinfeld and Home Alone. They are larger independent properties that are not, sort of original Lego creative themes, and people are sort of upset that it's like, well, how come that sort of stuff wins? Why can't we go back to the core of Lego and be filled with imagination and unique storyline and storytelling that's more at the core of the Lego company? And I can full on agree with that. I don't hate licensed IPs. I know some people really despise them, but it's definitely a big reason that I enjoy a lot of Lego themes. Star Wars being one of my favorite things and Lego themes, and I have a big respect for Lego Star Wars stuff. But I can also respect the sort of I don't know, that argument that, hey, it would be really nice to have more of that sort of stuff get through. And I also respect Lego's decision that, hey, the main reason that they picked those two themes was because they know that stuff will make money. There's already a larger audience out there, and there's those sort of people who would go, yo, I don't really collect this whole Lego thing, but I love Home Alone. You know what? I'm going to buy this set. Whereas the average Joe would walk past and see this Bionicle thing and be like, I don't really know what that is, There's a whole bunch of different arguments here, of course, And at the end of the day, you can also kind of just go back to the whole, it's that sort of he said, she said kind of thing, where the fans go like, but this, but this, but this. And the Lego company goes, yes, but this, but this, but this. And this sort of stuff that we can't tell you because we're a business and there's all sorts of laws and regulations and blah, blah, blah around that. And at the end of the day, I think we just have to respect Lego's decision, It's the same thing of the Lego pirate theme being not around for quite some time, and then Barracuda Bay comes out, and then we get some creative pirate ship sets and a few more different pirate things. Eventually it'll come back around, Castle stuff wasn't around for ages, and then we got older castle themes and all that sort of stuff, It eventually will come. I think we just got to have a little bit of patience, unfortunately, because I know I am there too. I put a tweet out the other day just before the results came out, and I was like, God, I'm so excited. I can't wait to hear the results. I hope the Bionicle Project wins. And it didn't, and I was disappointed. I even posted a little gif of Yoda saying he was disappointed, which that's how disappointed I was. So disappointed that even Yoda was sad. And yeah, it is sad. It is disappointing. I was really keen for that set to come out. I would have loved it to come out. I would have loved to have seen it in the shops, bought it, brought it home, built it, done a review about it, all sorts of craziness. It would have been great fun. But unfortunately, now's not that time. And it sucks. It really does suck. But, a lot of people are also saying, like, man, Lego was teasing us with all these references in Bionicle set, or in system sets as well, There was I believe there was a How on a Hidden Side set. There was an image of, like, Onawa on a Hidden Side set. Also kind of looked a bit like Motunui. I thought it was Motunui at first. There's a Voyanui map inside a city plane. There was a whole bunch of different Bionicle references in various Ninjago sets as well, all sorts of stuff. and people were like, they were teasing us with that, and then it went nowhere. Like, what? And personal opinion, I loved all of those little teasers and things and little cameos and fun nods to Bionicle and those sets. But personally, I think LEGO always likes to do that. You got to remember that a lot of LEGO sets are designed by LEGO designers who grew up with LEGO, who were fans of LEGO, who would have bought and grown up with Bionicle as well. And so they go, I want to honor the theme that I grew up with and put a little nod to it in my in the set that I'm designing. That sort of thing. And, you know, additionally, there've been a whole bunch of Galador references in sets of late as well. And there've been a whole bunch of references to other themes and other things. Blacktron and Classic Space, all sorts of stuff. And those themes haven't necessarily come back either. It's just the designers giving a little fun nod to a set that or a theme that they grew up with. You know, I don't necessarily think that was this, you know, hidden clues that was leading to a larger reveal or something. I wish it was. That would have been awesome. That would have been great. But I think given the kind of track record of putting little cameos and things like that in sets, it doesn't necessarily mean anything. It's just a fun nod, which is okay, you know. Yeah. And I'll preface this, by the way. I don't want to say any of this of just like, if you have negative opinions about this, you're wrong. You're welcome to have any opinions you want. I too had negative opinions about it, but I spent a few days, I reflected upon it, and I went, okay, I think I get why LEGO did it. It really sucks. I wish it wasn't the case, but it's unfortunately what it is, you know? I think at the end of the day, it does just come down to patience and promise, I guess. The promise that, like a lot of LEGO themes, they'll come back, or they won't come back, or give it a bit more time and the theme will come back in some other iteration or form, or when the market wants it, it'll come back. That sort of thing, you know? We just got to have hope, you know? Additionally, yeah, having hope, I was there on my notes. I wasn't even reading it, and I circled back to it. I think it is important to have a bit of hope that we didn't think Bionicle G2 would come around, and boom, it did, you know? Who's to say Bionicle G3 or any other sort of form of construction won't come around in the future? We'll just have to wait and see and just hope that it does. But we got to give it time, unfortunately. Additionally, too, I definitely don't think that this means LEGO hates us or that they owe us anything either. I saw a few people saying stuff like that it's like, you know, yo, we've been fans of this for ages. We've still been following it and building it. Like, LEGO owes this to us. I don't know. I'd love for someone to explain this to me because I've never quite got that argument personally of you know, this is owed to me kind of thing. You know, like for example, in Solo, a Star Wars story, when Darth Maul pops up at the end, a lot of people were like, thank God, this is justification for me watching the Clone Wars. Like now, it's that fulfillment. It's awesome, and I can understand that. I can understand the fact of like, hey, if you watch the Clone Wars, that's so much fun. That's such an awesome cameo. That's such an awesome moment. But at the same time, I never quite got that argument of like, you know, this now justifies me spending all that time watching the Clone Wars. It's like, well, the justification for watching it was that it was a great show. You know, that it was fun, that you enjoyed watching it. It's not like, I don't know, personally, I don't sit here and read a book or watch a TV series and then sit and go, well, I hope to God this appears later because otherwise I wasted my time. I don't know. That's what that argument sounds like to me. I imagine it isn't that argument. And again, I'd love for someone to clarify that for me. But I don't know. I've always found that a bit of a different way of looking at it that doesn't resonate with me of I don't think we're necessarily owed anything. The enjoyment of Bionicle comes from our love of it. It comes from the memories and the time that we have with it, the mocks that we build, the cool stuff that happens. It's not like any of that is improved or diminished whether or not LEGO brings back more of it or finds ways of honoring us, you know. I think it's important to take the wins that we do get, you know, when there is a little Bionicle cameo in a set. I think it's important to honor that. I think it's important to be like, yeah, there's a designer out there, there's a group of LEGO designers, there's a few people, or the head of LEGO, whoever approved that, whoever thought of that, whoever down the line said, yes, be sure to keep that in, all that sort of stuff. I think it's important to go like, hey, you know, it's little, it's small, it's not a full Bionicle set or a whole construction line or wave, but it's still a nod to Bionicle that someone does care about it, and that's cool, you know? I think that's important to remember. Another thing that I think is also important to remember, there's that whole 501st Battle Pack argument, you know? People were tweeting about it enough, letting people know, hashtag release the Snyder Cut, all that sort of stuff. If you keep asking for it and you keep letting them know that how you want it, eventually they'll probably maybe sometimes listen. And I say maybe probably sometimes because it does depend how you say it. Obviously, if you give them a bit of a negative attitude towards it or you're a little bit more harsh with it and all that sort of stuff, maybe that's not always the way to go. But if you're kind enough about it and you let them know that, hey, there is an interest in this, and you keep telling them, eventually you'll hashtag save the Clone Wars, or you'll eventually bring back Bionicle or any form of construction. But again, you got to have hope and you got to give it time, you know? So yeah, I think at the end of the day, that's kind of my main argument for, or at least my thoughts on the current Bionicle LEGO Ideas situation, or whatever you want to call it. I think it is unfortunate, it is disappointing, it is a shame, but, you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. I am what I am, you know? And it sucks, but like the All-American Rejects said, when all hope is gone, we're gonna move along, you know? Yeah, and look, if you do have stronger emotions about it, if you are still disappointed, you're a little upset, I feel you, man. I totally feel you. It sucks, it really does, but hey, you know, we've still got Bionicle around, and we've still got a larger community around. And I wanted to touch upon that too. I wanted to say that, hey, remember the Bio Cup is still going on. Whether you're a part of it, you're participating in it, you participated in it, and you're now not in it, all that sort of stuff. Whatever your relationship is with the Bio Cup, you can at least be excited that, like, hey, there is a whole bunch of super, super cool Bionicle stuff being posted at the moment. There is a larger presence in the community with it. And there's a whole bunch of different people out there who still love and respect the theme and the concept and construction as a whole that you can chat with, hang out with, or just check out their cool stuff or build your own cool stuff. There's still a larger living, breathing Bionicle community out there. And that's always exciting too. So, you know, it doesn't mean Bionicle's dead. It doesn't mean no one cares about it. It doesn't mean that Lego's given a big old middle finger to you saying we don't care about Bionicle. They do still care. And other people still care, and that's what's important. Additionally, too, there's that cannon contest happening as well with Toa Hellrix, all that sort of stuff as well. That's either a thing you yourself can participate in, or those future cannon contests you can also participate in. But additionally, too, it's cool to see that spirit being kept alive of giving faces to those faceless characters in the Bionicle storyline, and honouring that Bionicle storyline as the large fan community, you know? Additionally, too, there is this channel, the Bionicle Inspiration series here, and all the other stuff I post that relates to construction and Bionicle. There's still a whole bunch of that around as well. And additionally, just any little everyday acts of kindness, whether it's a fun little collab with your friends, or just, you know, commenting on someone's Bionicle mock and just letting them know that, you know, you appreciate the stuff that they post or that they make, or just building your own fun construction-themed mock. That's a way to keep Bionicle alive. So, you know, there's still a lot of stuff out there that you can do yourself to celebrate Bionicle, to honor Bionicle, and to celebrate those 20 years of Bionicle as well. And yes, it's unfortunate that there's not an official product to honor that or celebrate that, but who's to say there won't be one later down the line? And who's to say there won't be any more fun cameos and Easter eggs and things in different system sets that can also honor Bionicle? So I think that's kind of it for my thoughts on this topic. Kind of just wanted to touch upon that, just that you know that, hey, that's where I stand with it, that I think it is disappointing. It is a shame, but I think we've got to respect that LEGO had their reasons. And yes, it may seem like they're not really that strong, or that they're not that great, or this would have been a great decision and stuff, but at the end of the day, they did what they did, you know? And I think it's important to have hope that later down the line, things will change and things will get better, because they will. And we will get a theme later down the line. And I don't think necessarily we're owed it, but it would be really nice if we receive it, because that would be a very fun gift and just something cool. Just a cool way to honor the theme we love. So that's more or less it for today, guys. Of course, if you enjoyed this podcast and you want to hear more of these weekly podcasts, you can expect them over on my Patreon. Any form of any tier that you join for Patreon entitles you to listen to the Patreon podcast there. So if you're interested in all of that, be sure to check the links in the description below, and you can join Patreon that way. Additionally, of course, there's links to this in the description to other different social media of mine. You can check out some of those LEGO images I was speaking about before, or just, you know, see other sort of Bionicle-related stuff that I post there. And, of course, be sure to stay tuned for future Bionicle Inspiration Series episodes and check out some of the cool mocks that are posted there, and allow that to be a fun way that you can honor Bionicle and celebrate the theme and celebrate 20 years of this theme as well. It's been 20 years since its birth, more or less, at this point. I don't know what that official date is. It might have already passed. I don't remember. But regardless, it's exciting, it's cool, it's a good time, and it's always a good time to celebrate Bionicle, which is great. So that's more or less it, guys. Thank you very much for listening, and hopefully I will see you in future Patron podcasts, or if not, when I want to do some of these little spotlight podcasts here for some really important topics that I think the larger community would like to hear, or that would benefit the larger community. I'll be posting these here too on the main channel, so you can stay tuned for that too. Thank you so much for listening, guys. I'll see you in the next podcast.